All right. Welcome, YouTube. You get the special, as we said, pregame for free. I'm not charging you for this. I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy.
Like anyone would pay.
I wish I had the time. I want to set up like a Patreon and stuff and then just get all the old shows available. Like give us a couple bucks a month and then you get access to everything we've done. I would even throw up that Twilight commentary, I think. I still have that.
Yeah.
That roving disaster of a Twilight.
Oh, that was so bad.
Because I still get angry about that. Good times. So, my list. So, Matt, did you appreciate my gigantic list of possible films?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna change things up. We'll talk about it during the show, but for the next 4 weeks, because we're 4 episodes out of 500, we're gonna count down the top 20 films. It's my favorite. I guess my 20 favorite film. So, right, that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could make an argument that there's films that are better for like the snobs out there, Chris. But I'm talking about the ones that I had the most fun with, and I still go back to today.
Yeah,
Social Network may be a better film, but there are other films that I watch a hell of a lot more than that.
Right. So yeah, I've updated this thing 6 times today.
I mean, is it fair that we already know what your number one is?
I thought I wasn't allowed to use it. It's not my number one.
I would have used it.
Oh, because it's not my number one, which throws my entire list out of whack.
If you're not using it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is one of them we talked about offline is one of the films we never reviewed for the show, but it's
by like months. Like I remember watching it, going to Bloomfield and watching it.
Yeah,
like when the show had started.
But it's the like the building blocks. It's the foundation of the show, really, and that's why I feel like this should still potentially be on there. We're not going to say what that is, but if you've listened to the show with any length, you could probably know exactly what film. I think I've spoken of it in those terms many times.
Sure.
So, but I don't know how I should have put an Excel sheet to see how many entries I had, but I know it was quite a few. Some of this though covers when you weren't here either, so.
Yeah, I mean, even if you did it for the show when I wasn't there, I still count it because I've probably seen it by now, so I'm still counting it.
Mm-hmm. I still feel like I need to make changes. All right, whatever. That'll be fine. We're only going to do 20 through 16 this week, though. 20 through 16. Yeah. And what do we got next week? Is that nailed down?
BFW, I think.
That was supposed to be 500.
Oh, it was?
Which we could still do something for 500, but I think the key that's going to be the Sucker Punch rewatch.
Oh yeah. No, did we re-release that show? Because I was going through the list of the archives and I saw that the Sucker Punch show up twice.
Yeah, I used it
a year apart or something.
There was a week. There was something where there wasn't going to be any show. So I released that. I tagged another thing. It may have been Antichrist. I can't remember. And then I did a whole bunch of unreleased outtakes that I had saved.
Right. Okay.
So it was just kind of like a filler show, a clip show.
It's Guns Akimbo and Monos.
Okay. I already saw Monos. So
I haven't seen Monos yet. No.
Guns Akimbo. All right. Good times.
Good times.
All right. I guess that's it.
So we're pushing back our raunchy 80s comedies back a week. So we're not starting on 500, are we?
Oh yeah, I guess not.
Was to be our second film on the 500th episode.
I guess not. Yeah, I guess we should. We'll push it out a week. Maybe
so I guess we could do Sucker Punch and VFW.
That or Sucker Punch and Velocipaster. Just go for it.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, and we'll push VFW. We'll push that stuff out then. I got to update the calendar again. Candyman was pushed back.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be really weird as we get deeper and deeper into this thing, how far back all this stuff goes.
What do you think's going to happen? Do you think we're going to... I think the quarantine here may lift because the president tells the governor here to do so, and the governor here pretty much does whatever the president tells him.
Right.
Which is just going to exacerbate everything here. Do you think you're going to be out of quarantine there or out of whatever it is, in a month?
No, I mean, I see us going in here in CT until June, probably. At the very least, I'll probably see us not going to work, and I don't think my daughter's going back to school. I think basically her school year is done. It's all going to be distance learning, so I don't see any reason to that we'll have to leave the house necessarily until June, July. I mean, after June, I would think.
Part of me feels like they already know it's going to be 3 months or so they just just doing it rolling 30 days so not to freak everybody out.
Yeah, well, that's basically like that's basically what we're doing at our job. I mean, it's like, instead of just saying you're going to be out until July, they're just keep doing it for 3-4 weeks at a time and see what happens.
Yep. Good times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's try and have a little fun. People have enough stuff to freak out about. Let's give them a reasonable amount of entertainment for the next 40 to 50 minutes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's do it.
No promises. Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, Matt, we become basically an IFC promo channel. So this week we're going to talk about 2 IFC films. First up, we're going to have Swallow, and then we have The Wind. We're also going to tell you what's coming up on your home. It's a thing. I know these words. I've said them 496 times. The problem is I keep trying to change it, right? It used to be home video pics. Then I wanted to switch it to physical media, because that's what we're trying to really hit home there. And I could cut this. I could. But I'm not going to do it, because it's authenticity. It's honesty.
Right.
That's what we provide you.
It's principles.
Yes. Which I will surely blow up, I'm sure, once we start doing our list. So anyway, I'm going to tell you what's coming up in home video. Damn it! Physical media this upcoming Tuesday. And then we're going to start our big countdown. We are just episodes away from number 500. We have a super secret surprise guest that you're all going to be excited about. We're going to go our top 20, which means our favorite 20 films we watched as part of this show. And this we're going to do 20 through 16. Next week we're going to do 10 through 5, and then we're going to do 15 through 11 because we like to mix things up. Integrity. So let's start everything off with a clip from Swallow.
Sorry, darling. I let myself in.
You gave me such a fright.
Obviously. I just wanted to bring this over. Self-help book. I read it when I was pregnant, and it really helped with the postpartum.
Oh my gosh. I love it. I'm making lunch. Grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. Can you stay?
Oh, I wish I could.
I can make something else.
No. Don't bother. I better be going. You would look so pretty with long hair. You should grow it out. Richie likes his girls with long, beautiful hair.
Okay, Matt, you know I'm going to do it. Why don't you tell everybody, what is Swallow all about?
Such a jerk. A young newlywed couple. The man, the husband, a very rich and well-off-to-do gentleman. The wife gets pregnant. She's kind of sequestered in this house, and she develops a case of, I forget the medical term for it, but it's a common occurrence where sometimes pregnant women will eat non-food objects. They'll be compelled to eat non-food objects, and that's what this is. It's basically her kind of descent and losing control, eating these objects as her life spins out of control.
Yeah, because it's I think a way for her to kind of grab on to some control, right? To introduce something in her life that she has mastery over. Mm-hmm. And this is getting some pretty strong reviews out there, Matt. It's a psychological thriller, not your traditional horror film, right?
Mm-hmm.
what are your thoughts about this thing? Did this work for you? Do you think it deserves all the praise it's getting? It seems to be anchored around Hayley Bennett's performance, from what I understand. I have my thoughts about that, which we'll talk about. So, but what are your feelings about Swallow? Was it a tasty treat that you were able to swallow easily?
I thought you were going to say go tasty treat, or was it hard to swallow? That's where I would have gone.
Oh, that's much better.
Yes.
I'm coming up with this on the fly. So
you are, yes.
They're not all going to be good.
I mean, 60%. That's good. It's good.
Son of a bitch.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so I kind of went into this pretty blind. I didn't really know what this was about. I read the blurb, and I have to admit I was expecting more of a supernatural angle or some kind of like cult angle, something akin to Ready or Not, where like the family had some kind of really sinister motive or something like that. But it's interesting. I didn't really know what to expect, and I thought it was good. For whatever reason, the lead actress was giving me some Jennifer Lawrence from Mother vibes throughout this whole thing. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't love it. It's kind of interesting that this film we paired it to our next film.
Yeah, right.
Where it's kind of like the same thing, just with different causes, But this one, while I thought it was good, I thought the performance was good. It didn't have a lot of suspense for me. It was just kind of meandering to me. It was just okay. Like, I didn't really love it.
Oh no. Like Jordan Peele, and Get Out, and that woman. No, Matt. That saddens me, because I thought Swallow was really quite good. Possibly, well, faint praise, maybe the best film I've seen so far this year. It is, as I said, anchored, I think, by a vulnerable and entirely believable performance for me by Hayley Bennett. I thought she was fantastic in this. You can feel her just grasping for anything to stop her from drowning, metaphorically, in this life that she's trapped in. She's this young woman, right, who came from nothing, no money, no family really, and she is swept off her feet by this just disturbingly rich guy. Sets her up in this house, and then him and his family slowly kind of just take control over her and her entire life. It's not like, we're not talking like a Cinderella stepmother type of situation here, but just little things like you heard in that clip with Elizabeth Marvel talking to her about how her son likes his women's hair to be long. Just always little moments, little stings, little barbs like that. There's just one devastating turn and betrayal after another. There's just one particular scene where she overhears a conversation, and it just crushed you. You could see, because every time she thinks maybe she has an outlet, it's just snapped away from her. So it's written and directed by Carla Mirabella Davis. And what I don't think they really appreciated is how it feels kind of anachronistic. It seems to kind of exist in two different times, right? Because she's got this late 50s, early 60s kind of housewife vibe, the architecture, the interior of the house, how it's all designed, the set design of the entire thing, the color palette as well. And there's also a really kind of classic score involved in this. So there's this one weird synth interlude song. But the whole thing, I think why I liked it so much, Matt, is it felt very kind of modern noir Hitchcock to me. And it did. It was. I think it's because of the set. That I think he's trying to replicate the feel and the eye of some classic Hitchcock stuff. I thought, I'm thinking like Rear Window, and I definitely got the vibe from that. That's maybe it's an artifice, maybe it's entirely artificial for you, but that's exactly how I read it. And the film takes a shift in the final act, where it goes from this kind of taut psychological thriller to more about this drama about certain types of kind of loss and suffering and grief. And I know some people seem to struggle with that. For me, I thought it worked. I didn't think it really diminished the prior acts at all. I thought it was fine. So, yeah, no, I thought really enjoyed this. And there's this crowning touch at the very end of the film, where it ends in the restroom, right? That woman's restroom. And then there's these other women that keep coming in and out and coming in and out, you know, and kind of signifying that we don't know how many other people kind of live lives like this, you know? It could be any number of them. And it's just, I don't know. I thought this was really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just have to disagree with you. I went into this pretty pure. Like, I hadn't really read any buzz about it. I hadn't read about any kind of glowing reviews. So my expectations weren't looking at it. You know, I didn't go in thinking that hearing that it was going to be some great thing. And I just kind of watched it blind and cold. And those are just my impressions for it. I mean, it didn't strike me on a deeper level. It just kind of was. It just was there. And I don't know. I feel like I've seen things like this that have been done better in the recent past.
I don't know. I just can't agree with you. I thought this was really well done. I'm gonna give Swallow an A-. I'm assuming we're gonna be really far apart on this one, which is a refreshing change.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C+.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have that much to recommend it, to be quite honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the performances are good, but I mean, if you're looking for like a neo-noir or even something, there's plenty more out there that's like more challenging and more accessible and I think better.
I may go 2 out of 3 on that. I don't know if they'd be necessarily better. How vulnerable and delicate Bennett's performance in this thing. The whole time I'm watching this, I'm just rooting for her and thinking that inevitably she's going to be doomed. I shouldn't say knowing, but inevitably that something's going to horrible will happen. And everything, obviously I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But no, this thing really worked for me. If Swallow is available to rent now on all your streaming platforms, you can check it out because this is the world we live in now. If you've already had a chance to see it, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. C+. All right. I'm not angry about it, which is refreshing.
That's good. Well, I mean, I think that just proves how much you didn't have as much emotional juice as you kind of did for some of these films. Like, there are some films that if I had said that, you do get angry.
That's true. No, that's very true. And I really hate the term juice.
I know you do. That's why I keep saying it.
Like, some women have the term moist.
Yeah, I know you mentioned this, and you planted the seed, my friend.
I think it's more the plural is what really bothers me.
Or what about the adjective juicy?
No, I'm good. I'm good with that.
No? You're good? Okay.
Yeah. Different connotation, which we won't get into here. So let's spend a few
Big
minutes.
Papa?
What now?
Notorious B.I.G. That's where you immediately go when you hear juicy?
You're right. My
Come
Biggie,
on, Chris.
I'm not a Biggie guy.
No?
No.
You're a big Tupac fan?
Nope,
West
neither.
Coast?
I did not get into the hip hop at the time.
Tell you what, man, I hated Tupac. I think it's mostly because my freshman year roommate would not stop playing him constantly. But anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All I know is California Love. Is that a Tupac song?
Yeah, the one with where they have the Mad Max video. Yeah.
That's the only one I know. I know more Biggie songs. I was more of an Ice Cube Tribe. I'm a Tribe guy.
Okay, you're a Tribe. Okay, you Q-Tip.
Yeah. I love me.
That's true. You do love some Q-Tip. I do. You do love that.
So
you know who I heard on the radio the other day? I thought of you. Was Tina Turner singing about the Thunderdome.
Oh, that is one of my all-time favorite '80s songs. I feel like at some point I want to digress and do something separate. When I just give you a ranking of like my 100 or 50 whatever favorite '80s songs. Yeah, that would be in the top 10.
Throw it on the website, man.
We don't need another.
We got a website. Make a list. Make a list.
I have so much time. I have so many things I want to do. That's the problem. So let's spend a few minutes to talk about what's coming up on your physical media picks this upcoming Tuesday, April 14th. We're going to the vault for this one, folks. So enjoy.
How's it going?
How's what going?
You know, things, life, whatnot.
Life is not whatnot, and it's none of your business.
So you going to New Faces dance tonight, or?
It's also none of your business.
Are you inhibited about dancing in public? I mean, you don't have to dance. I mean, you can just stand there and me and my dudes and just be you and...
Sounds major.
So, I mean, what's the story? I mean, you got a guy or...
Yes, 3 big ones and they went blood, so quit bugging me or I'll stick them all over your weenie ass.
You know, I'm getting input here that I'm reading is relatively hostile. I mean, it's just...
Go to hell.
Very hostile.
So there's a clip from 16 Candles that I had to cut there because as it continues, there is an F-word slur that we don't use around here anymore. But this is, of course, what was 16 Candles? When did that come out?
84, 85, something like that. Yeah.
So Arrow is releasing a super special edition of 16 Candles. It's a brand new 4K restoration from the original negative. But what's interesting, getting its premiere on Blu-ray, is a 94-minute extended version of the film, which has the additional cafeteria scene. I guess is a famous... I can't remember 16 Candles for the life of me. I saw it once when I was a kid. So you get 2 extra minutes there of that additional cafeteria scene. And there's an alternate home video soundtrack prepared for VHS and Laserdisc releases, which I'm really curious about. And you can watch the additional scenes separately from the film if you so choose, and more. So if you're a 16 Candles fan, that sounds like the release to get. The big thing for me this week, though, Matt, I think it is Underwater, which is a film we discussed earlier this year with Kirsten Stewart. And they said Kirsten? Kristen Stewart. I call her Kirsten. She's cool with it. So this is I don't want to spoil it. It's just a great little underwater monster movie, right? I guess that's the best way to say it. It's a lot of fun. So you can check that out. There's an alternate ending, which I'm kind of curious about, as well as some deleted scenes, 6 extended scenes, some featurettes, and audio commentary as well. The Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, Brie Larson film Just Mercy is getting its home video release. Just Mercy shadows world-renowned civil rights defense attorney Brian Stevenson as he recounts his experiences and details the case of a condemned death row prisoner whom he fought to free. Alex Wolff, who we previously saw in Hereditary, writes and directs The Cat in the Moon. Whilst his mother seeks treatment and rehab, teenager Nick, played by Wolff, comes to New York City to stay with Cal Epps, I believe it's Mike Epps, a jazz musician friend of his late father's. During his stay, he makes friends who show him what the city has to offer. Criterion, in your new to Blu-ray segment, is releasing Destry Rides Again, in a brand new 4K restoration by Universal Pictures in collaboration with the Film Foundation. New interviews, a new video essay, and a Lux Radio Theater adaptation of the film from 1945 featuring Jimmy Stewart and Joan Blondell. You ever listened to any of those radio adaptations? Sometimes they include... I listened to a couple of them. It's fun. It's kind of fun to hear it.
Okay.
In fact, 2 years ago for Christmas, I went to see a play that did a radio version of It's a Wonderful Life. So the play was them faking doing a radio teleplay of the story, and it was great. Had a blast with it. Shout Select is releasing Homeboy, starring Mickey Rourke, and she also wrote the film. He plays Johnny Walker, a cowboy and a boxer. He's very shy and a bit of a fool. He's in love with Ruby, but he can't tell her, Matt. He's also a bit old to keep on boxing, but it's the only thing he does well. Shout Factory is also releasing Captain Kronos Vampire Hunter. The classic cult film is getting a new audio commentary by critic Bruce Hallenbeck, and then a new featurette, Anything Goes, Hammer Films in the 70s. Arrow is also releasing The Wind, but a different Wind. This is from 1986, starring Meg Foster and Wings Hauser. Foster plays a novelist who is stalked by a psychopath on one stormy night. Features a brand new 4K restoration, which is approved by the writer-director Nico Mastorakis. A brand new interview with Nico and some other featurettes as well. Unearthed Films, Matt, is releasing Gutterballs. Are you familiar with Gutterballs?
No.
So Gutterballs has a bit of a notorious reputation. It's an 80s slasher film that has a hardcore porn version. And
Really?
Unearthed is releasing a special edition of the film, which includes the XXX rated version on a separate DVD. So you can watch that, I guess. Includes the audio commentary with the director Ryan Nicholson, a couple behind-the-scenes featurettes, and some outtakes as well. But for the particular group of people who are a fan of this film, this is supposed to be a better Blu-ray. It's been released on Blu-ray a few times over the years, not in great quality. So maybe this one will satisfy the fans. Police Squad, the complete series, is being released on Blu-ray. This is the original show, Matt, not the Naked Gun films. If you haven't seen it, that show, I think it's only 6 episodes, but it's still hilarious. That show still holds up to this day. And bonus, no OJ. And then finally, you got Tin Cup and V, The Final Battle, all beginning their Blu-ray releases. Your straight-to-DVD pick of the week, Matt, is going to be Final Kill. An aging protection specialist takes on one last job before retirement, protecting a couple who stole $8 million from a ruthless crime family. Stars Billy Zane, Danny Trejo, and Randy Couture. So you can't really go wrong with that cast. What should we be streaming this week?
So my esteemed co-host would probably like me to mention that certain film that is in his top 4 right now, if Twitter is to be believed. Parasite is available on Hulu for everyone to watch. But I'm going to actually, you know what? It's not a family film. It's not for all the kids. It's not for everybody and grandma to sit around and watch. So I'm going to recommend Onward, which is available on Disney+. I quite enjoyed it as the new Pixar release. Chris, not so much, but who are you going to believe, folks? Me or Chris? You know the answer to that.
It's good. Like I said, it's really stuck the ending. I thought the last act was quite good. But the rest of it was okay. I don't think Parasite was in my top 4. I think the one that bothered you so much was Portrait.
No, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it open right now. Casablanca, The Film That Shall Not Be Named, The Thing, and then Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Were my current 4 favorite films. Okay. Are they right now? I don't know.
So, 3 days ago.
I think so. It rotates. What do you want from me? I just watched Terminator 3 a couple days ago again. I just had a weird... I don't know. I wanted an Arnie fix for some reason. Even though I've bought Dark Fate, I didn't want to watch it because I wanted to watch... Right. I wanted to watch younger Arnie, who's actually plays a significant role in the film. And I hadn't seen that one in probably 10, 15 years.
Right.
So, yeah, it's okay. It's not horrible. It's not great. You could say that about a lot of things.
You could.
So let's spend a few minutes, Matt, then, and speak about some horror in the Old West.
They're coming in for lunch.
I've seen something.
Just now.
At night. I hear it too, whispering. I've told Gideon, but he doesn't believe me. Tells me it's the wind.
There are many natural
It's
occurrences.
not. You remember how many graves you passed on the way here. I told Gideon we should turn back. I said everyone will be dead when we get there, and there's
Hush now! Please don't be unpleasant in front of the men.
So, Matt, Lizzie and Isaac have settled out west. This is the latest film from IFC Midnight. They've arrived from St. Louis. They are now in New Mexico, which is very unpopulated at this point. And Lizzie feels there's something out there. And they get some new neighbors. And the new neighbors are a little off, Matt. There's something a little off about them. And things start to unfold between the 4 people. One of them dies, appears to take their own life. And Lizzie is convinced it's the demons. It's the demons and the winds that are in New Mexico. So, we have 2 IFC films, Matt, this week. You are underwhelmed by Swallow at this point. I think that's a fair thing to say.
That's true.
How about The Wind? What are your thoughts on The Wind? Did this redeem them a bit in your eyes, at least for this week? Did this deliver the scares in the Old West?
Sure. Yeah, I think I had a better time with this one. It had some moments of real suspense and typical horror scares, but I think they were well executed. I think there were a couple of scenes that were a little eye-rolling, and they were a little much. I think they would have done more with the show less kind of thing, but there were some scenes that I thought were quite good. And watching this late at night in bed, it was pretty spooky. So yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more. I thought it was a much more effective, but also much more traditional horror film.
I would agree. It's directed by Emma Tammy, written by Teresa Sutherland. And I think this has some very fun, clever ideas in this thing. They do a great job, too, of spotlighting her isolation and fear, right? Mm-hmm. There are a few times you really feel like, crap, she's out there all by herself.
Right.
And I don't know how she's going to survive this thing. If I have any critique about the film, Matt, unlike last week, we talked about I Lost My Body with first run super guest, Lady Wan. This film also has a different kind of narrative structure in regards to its timeline.
Yep.
We jump around a bit in this a lot, and I just don't know if this kind of fractured narrative suits the film.
Right.
I think that can typically make a movie compelling by kind of keeping you off your feet, right? Kind of guessing at what's going to happen. But unfortunately for me this time out, I think it kind of inhibited some of the tension from building properly. I think we kind of really get a groove and get some energy going on something, and then boom, smash cut, things kind of just somebody pumps the brakes, right? And then we're jerked kind of to a stop, and we're resetting again. Mm-hmm. And it pulled me out of the film a bit every time that happened. Now, I get what we're trying to do, right? Because I think it balances the traditional horror films with also the psychological horror and the scares that we're dealing with as well, about being all by yourself half the time, right? Because husbands and families have to take off and she's left by herself. She's dealing with the stillborn loss of a child, right? I get a bit of a spoiler, but they kind of talk about it right away. So she's got to hold on to her sanity while all these events appear to be happening all around her. And though I think the ultimate reveal in the film is well plotted throughout, I still kind of found it slightly anticlimactic. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I would agree. I think they overuse the kind of conceit of the shifting timelines. I think you're right. It would have been a lot more effective if they have kind of. I think I was on board with it at the beginning, but I think once things really start kind of settling out, they should have either done away with it or found another way to structure the film to keep from killing that suspense that they've done a good job of building in certain cases. Because I think when they're really showing her isolation and showing how she's kind of coming unraveled and, the things that are threatening her, where she's literally, the only person around for, dozens, maybe hundreds of miles. And it's just creepy to think about. Yeah. I think that was really effective. If they had stuck with that stuff, it would have gone over a lot better. But I think you're right. I think there are some structural issues that keep this from being good into being something that may be a little more special.
No, I agree. Because I love original idea kind of independent horror films, right? Mm-hmm. So, in fact, is one going to come up on my list maybe in a little bit? It might. We'll see. I keep changing my mind as we go. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend you watch it. Mm-hmm. Just, maybe temper some expectations. I don't know how high they would be going into this. I don't think this film has a massive pull right now. From what I understand, there's not a lot of, some people would say, juice for it at the moment. Air quotes. Either way, I think it's worth checking out. I'm going to give The Wind a B-.
Yeah, you know what? I'm right there with you. I'm going to give it a B- as well.
Oh, all is right again with the world.
That's right. Agree. Yeah. See, it also shows you how much juice Chris had for the last one, because he would have gotten. Normally, he would have yelled at me a lot more for giving this a B- and not a C+.
That's true. That's very true. Insert Denzel gif. Touching my heart. The relief. I don't know why somebody thought I said Siri, which I did not. And then I asked about Jeff. What? Oh, because I said GIF.
GIF.
Way to go, phone. I won't even say your name right now. The Wind. Available to rent everywhere. Is it streaming anywhere?
What else?
I don't think
it is. It's showing on Showtime right now.
Which I don't have.
So So if you have Showtime, you can watch it there as well.
But I was happy because Amazon Prime had it for 99 cents to rent. I don't know if you saw my text. So
I did, but I have Showtime. I don't have HBO, but I do have Showtime. So
I got the HBO. What's that? What's that? I got that.
I'd rather have HBO.
Oh,
that's not what comes with the package.
There you go. Have you seen The Wind? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. And so it begins. We are weeks away from our 500th episode. There's so many ideas, so many things I want to do. I got a month less. I got 3 weeks to figure it out and see if I can get it done, Matt. I don't know. I'm not even going to say what they all are because I'm not going to be able to pull off, I think, half of them. So I think we should definitely stream it live, which I think we can. I can do that. Especially now that one of the applications I use it. Now, probably not with video. I can try that, but that's just... I can't seem to figure that out. That's a heavy lift for me. I'm not very bright. I'm mostly just good looking. I don't know.
You are the face.
So, that's fine. All right. So let's start off, Matt. Let's do our 20 through 16. We're going to count down our favorite films that we've done during the show. And start off thing off with 26 through 16. Here's one, Matt, that didn't make the cut for me. I'm hoping I'm not stealing your thunder. Let's take a listen.
Have a seat. You're a doll for agreeing to this. I mean it.
It's nothing really.
I can't tell you how much of a relief it'll be to get this night behind us. You know, we only arrived in town very recently, and we really haven't had a moment to spare. You know, what with the eclipse and all.
So are you a teacher or something?
No. I mean, not exactly. Just... Did you know both of you live in one of the most perfect places on Earth to get a clearer view of it tonight?
We heard.
Yeah, this place is quite the astronomer's dream.
Are you an astronomer?
No, not exactly.
All right, Matt. So what movie is that from?
That is from House of the Devil, an excellent ode to 80s horror by Ty West.
Yes, it is a great film. We did it for the show. I think it was, man, when did we do that? It was like 35? No, it was an old one, though. It was
an old one, yeah.
It was right out of the gate. And fun thing, too, Greta Gerwig has a guest role in that. She was just starting to blow up at the time.
Oh, she's the babysitter. She's the friend.
Yeah, she's the friend of the babysitter.
And she's the one that I go, oh my God. I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, indeed. Episode 9.
9. Holy F.
Teamed with the Wolfman.
Wow. The Guillermo del Toro, or no, Benicio del Toro, excuse me.
Yes.
Vehicle.
So there you go. Episode 9, House of the Devil. You can, if you go to the website and you do a search, you should be able to find it. I wonder if it still plays. I'm going to try right now if it still plays. An hour and 5 minutes. What the hell did we talk about?
We were pretty long-winded then.
I'm going to tell you, folks. Part of my concern with releasing the classic shows is that the audio quality of them is horrible.
Well, that's because we were doing them in like your dining room or my dining room with like terrible microphones.
And what I would do then too is I would try and edit out the hiss.
Yeah.
But not realizing that I was distorting the audio by doing that. So it sounds great.
We also had Espo there too. So we had a third host at the time.
That's true.
So, you know, you getting on his case about stuff takes an extra 15 minutes, you know?
It does. Those are good times. Okay. So we're going to start everything off. Matt, why don't you go ahead? What's your 20th favorite film that you watched for the show?
So this was a tough list, man. I had a really long list, and I kind of just went with my initial gut on stuff that I saw. Try not to overthink it too much, but this one obviously the last slot was a big one. And of the many, many contenders that could have been there, I ended up with A Ghost Story.
Really?
Starring Casey Affleck. I ended up watching, I've seen that multiple times, and I do like the kind of just odd, you know, unusual storytelling where it's basically just a silent film for quite a bit of it, as this obviously ghost sits there and haunts a house as it passes through time. I thought it was a really interesting conceit. I switched it out at the last minute. That was what my gut was telling me, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Fair enough. So I'm going to tell you that I hate with a white hot passion Under the Silver Lake. But if you want to watch David Robert Mitchell's best film and my 20th pick, I would recommend It Follows, which is another great kind of retro horror film with a kick-ass 80s synth score. And it's another film that's anachronistic, but that's because it exists in kind of this parallel Earth, right? Because the technology, there's weird things that people use and have, but the general focus of the film is even Matt, when I tell people to this day, when I tell people what this movie is about, I get like goosebumps because it's such an effective story. Right. So when you sleep with somebody, there is something following you, walking, eventually hoping to connect or to catch up with you. And when it does something horrible to you and kills you. And it can look like anybody. It can be anybody. Just right now, Matt, goosebumps right now. Just talking. I don't know what it is about this film, but it's just the way Mitchell shoots this thing. When every time you see somebody in the background walking, you're like, "Is that it? Is that it?" Right? And it's just, and there's a couple reveals in the film too. The one in the hallway, right? I'm sure this thing just works, and it's terrifying, and maybe the logic of the film's a little off at times, but it doesn't matter. Because this is just a roller coaster ride of horror, and it is just, I dare say it's almost perfect. I absolutely love this thing.
Yeah, It Follows is fantastic. I really like It Follows. Okay, so again, here's probably a strange choice, I think. I think Chris is going to be surprised. This is the only MCU entry that made it on this entire list.
Ooh,
okay?
I don't have a one.
You don't have one? So my 19th film that I'm going to recommend, I think the more and more I think about this, it's the MCU film that I seem to have the most fun watching so far is Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi puts together something that's just elevates the underwhelming Thor franchise and makes it like one of the strongest contenders and the strongest character possibly right now in the MCU. Hemsworth is fantastic. He's funny. Kate Blanchett's maybe my favorite villain. She just kind of chews up the whole scenery. Tessa Thompson's great. Everybody in that just elevates the material. It's funny, it's fun, and it's exciting, man. There's still parts of that I still, get really jazzed to watch. And I think as much as I like Winter Soldier, it's really the kind of only MCU film out there that works so much that it's just fun and stupid the whole way through, and it knows what it is, and it just kind of leans into that ridiculousness.
No, I agree. I mean, like you said, the Thor franchise, I think, was the bottom. I'd say you can't even count the Hulk, right? Because it was just the one film.
Right.
The Incredible Hulk. But those first two Thor films are not very good at all.
Yeah. But like, I saw the first one. I caught a few minutes of the first one. They dyed Hemsworth's eyebrows blonde. He looks so ridiculous in the first one. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but they're not good. So the only film that actually, I think the only MCU film that I think would have made my list was Ragnarok. And it is on my master list of, I think, approximately 200 films.
Right.
But it's, no, not quite, unfortunately. So my number 19 then is Sean Baker's The Florida Project, which you talked about last week. With an absolutely just devastating performance by a 6-year-old girl, Brooklyn Prince, who plays Mooney. And really, though, the structural core and heart of the film, Willem Dafoe, who plays Bobby Hicks, the manager of the Magic Castle Motel, just as you talked about last week, right? And it's just a week or so, whatever it is in the life of these people who just live in this motel in Kissimmee. Or as I used to say as a kid, Kissimmee. My grandmother loved that. I was like 6. I always said it that way. I'm sure I'm the only person that ever did that. Either way, Dafoe, I think, should have won an Academy Award that year. I don't believe he did, which crushed what's left of my soul. But really, it's a heartwarming and heartbreaking film of just people basically just living on the edge trying to get by. And it's a beautiful, wonderful, small little film. So it's my number 19.
The Florida Project is great, and I think as we go through this, I'm gonna have the people's list, and Chris is gonna have the legitimate cinephile list, because
I got a couple in here.
What I went for though is really I kind of base it as like how often would I go back and rewatch this? As much as I love the Florida Project, I'm not gonna go back and see it as many times as I'm gonna go back and watch Ragnarok. You know?
And this for me is just films that had the biggest impact on me.
Sure.
If I did a rewatch list, this list would be probably very different.
Yeah.
Half of it.
Okay. All right. So my number 18 is the proper, not the ripoff. The script was floating around forever. Gareth Edwards probably ripped it off. But my number 18, and it makes me sad, we're not going to get another one, is Dread. One of my favorite sci-fi action films that had the unfortunate... As great as the Raid Redemption is, it came out after Raid Redemption, so it got a lot of copycat accusations, and it just didn't do well. Yeah, it did. It did. But I don't think that's fair. As I mentioned in one of our shows in the relatively distant past, that the rumor is that Gareth Edwards had read the Dredd script, and that's because it had been floating around for a decade before it finally got made, and that he used that for the basis for the Raid. But as great as the Raid is, guys, Dread is so much fun. It's hyper violent. It's got these cool, slow motion shootouts, just crazy sci-fi action. And Carl Urban is pitch perfect as Dread. It's so much fun to watch. Fantastic. It's an underappreciated film, and I wish more people would get on board with it.
Yeah, man, it's sad that some things just don't seem to capture the zeitgeist, and it's disappointing because you're right. Dread is great. And like you said, Urban is fantastic in it, and it's a waste that we're never going to get a sequel out of that thing. And also, from what I understand, ghost directed by Alex Garland.
Oh, was
he actually directed, I think the original director, who I'm blanking on the name, he was basically fired after a little while, or something happened, and Garland stepped in and basically directed that film. And then Garland, of course, Ex Machina, Annihilation.
Yeah.
He's got that show on Hulu, which I want to see, with Nick Offerman.
So. Devs, I want to see that too. Man, this makes me wish I was if I was filthy rich, if I had Jeff Bezos money, I would just fund a Dread movie. There are so many movies I would just fund just because I could.
We'll have to work on that. So my number 18 is a film that Matt gets on me about because I had said it was a perfect film, yet it wasn't my number one film that came out that year. And that's Greta Gerwig's Lady Bird, starring Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf. Another person robbed of an Academy Award, Laurie Metcalf, because Allison Janney got the shinier role in I, Tonya, but I think the real sole performance that year was Laurie Metcalf playing Lady Bird's mom. But it is a just beautiful little film about a young woman growing up, trying to figure out who she is and strike out on her own and do her own thing while, negotiating or navigating the life she has with her family. She's got the kind of supportive father who's kind of not really doing much, and the mom who has to be the driving force in the family, so the two of them clash. But it is very funny, very sweet and endearing, high drama at times, but still a great, great little film, and a wonderful little film too for all the mothers and daughters out there. And you don't have to be a mother or a daughter, because I'm neither, and I loved it. So Lady Bird's number 18. Yeah,
Lady Bird's a really good film. It's a really good film. So my number 17 is a film that I've talked about several times in the recent past. It kind of, has gone to the forefront of my mind that I've watched a few times since then. And while most of my list definitely has a shoot 'em up action, scary monsters kind of bent kind of thing, I do have a soft spot sometimes. And so my number 17 is Her, which is Joaquin Phoenix, and basically is a man in the near future who falls in love with the artificial intelligence in his phone, which is voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Also stars Rooney Mara, Amy Adams. It's an interesting film that kind of shows the kind of connections that we kind of lose and we kind of thirst for as people, and we try any way that we can to replace them in complicated ways or uncomplicated ways. And it really hits home that, because it seems maybe it has a bit of presence. Just wait till the sex robots come out and society will crumble. So, yeah, it's a good, sweet film that kind of hits me in a certain nerve.
No, that's no, I understand that. That works for me. So, my 17 then is the debut of, I think he's made 2 films so far, and I've loved both of them. And number 17 for me is his first. It's Barry Jenkins' Moonlight. The story of Chiron, and we meet him in 3 different times in his life. He's a young boy dealing with some emotional abuse from his mother, trying to figure out who he is. Again, as a teenager, again, further trying to figure out his identity, being a young gay black man in a neighborhood that is just poor and not exactly open to that type of a life. And then finally, when he's older, as he's maybe runs on the other side of the law, he's in prison for dealing drugs, and it delivers some truly powerful and arresting performances. You have Chiron played by 3 different people. Each one of them too are just wonderful and fantastic. And Naomi Harris plays Chiron's mother to devastating effect. The way Jenkins plays that one scene when she yells at him that slur is by going silent is just so powerful, because you can see his face as it hits him. It's incredible. And then, of course, Mahershala Ali won an Academy Award for his performance as Juan, who's a drug dealer who befriends and kind of takes Chiron on. He becomes a father figure for him in his youth. And it's just a stunning film. And won the Academy Award. That's, of course, is the big crazy upset year when they had announced La La Land by accident. Mm-hmm. And Moonlight ended up winning, and deservedly so. So it's my 17.
Moonlight is an excellent film, and I recommend that everybody watch it. It's just one of those films that it's like, I don't know how many times I'm going to pull it off the shelf or go looking for it, because it's a heavy hit, it's a heavy set. All right, so my number 16, we did it for episode 38, long time ago. Introduced the world to J. Law in playing a tough as nails young woman searching for her wayward father in the Ozark Mountains and kind of getting into the seedy underbelly of the meth land and everything else in Winter's Bone, which features a fantastic performance by John Hawkes. It's a kind of it's a gritty, unflinching look at something that you don't really hear about a lot. It's kind of the rural, white, poor, kind of downtrodden, drug and crime-addled, hopeless, stuff that's happening in Middle America, like in the Ozarks, in the Appalachians, stuff like that. And it's really an interesting story, and J-Law is great in it. So it's something that I think, I don't know, is Jennifer Lawrence a thing? Is she over? I haven't really seen her in anything in a long time. But yeah, this one really kind of put her on the map.
Oh yeah, no, it's fantastic. I'd forgotten all about Winter's Bone, so I just popped it on my list. But yeah, no, that's great. And as you said, John Hawkes is just a crazy another level of terrifying in that thing, which you wouldn't expect, especially if you know him from like Deadwood or any of his other roles. I mean, it's something. So my number 16 then, Matt. I think this is the only time. Now, granted, I reserve the right to change my list as we go. But my 16 is the only other film that features, I have the director. I have 2 of his films on my list.
Okay.
And it's back to back. It's If Beale Street Could Talk, Barry Jenkins' third film. I looked it up while you were speaking, and Moonlight was his second film. He did an independent film with Wyatt Cenac back in 2008.
Okay.
So, but If Beale Street Could Talk, which I think I may even like more than Moonlight. I know Moonlight gets all the praise, won the Academy Award. I think If Beale Street Could Talk is a better film. Me too. It's even more, I think, emotionally resonant and heavy. It stars, so you have Tish and Fonnie. They're a young couple. Maybe her family isn't so high on him. They come together, but then Tish becomes pregnant. and they're trying to build a life together, and then they have an encounter that goes horribly wrong. Fonnie ends up going to jail, and it's the two of them trying to manage their lives, and it kind of jumps back and forth a little bit, but then I love the score from Moonlight from Nicholas Britell. If I'm pronouncing that right, maybe Britell, I apologize. But his score for this too is just, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Matt. When I hear the notes this score start, I actually well up a bit. It is so beautiful to me, and this film it's like poetry. This film, it's just stunningly beautiful, and it hits me on such an emotional level. I sob. I've watched it twice now, and it just devastates me every time I listen to the score. It devastates me all over again. It's a beautiful film. And it's my number 16. If Beale Street Could Talk. I don't understand why there was no love for this at all at the Academy Awards.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Green Book year, I think, too, which makes it even more frustrating.
Yeah.
Anyway, If Beale Street Could Talk. So that's it, right? That's it. Those are our first 5.
Those are.
That's 20 through 16, folks. There's even more to come. There's 15 yet to go. You think those films are good. Just you wait. So we did say, Matt, next week, what are we doing again? It's going to be...
Monos.
And Guns Akimbo.
Guns Akimbo, right.
So we're going to probably get into that whole separating the art from the artist type thing again, considering all the shenanigans the director of Guns Akimbo got into. Idiot. But, it's more Summer Weaving, right? That's what we're kind of in for.
That's what we're on board for, yeah.
That works for me. All right. In the meantime, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you will find us. Go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. I'll read it on the air, and I'll help other people find the show. You want to share it, don't you? And that's it, Matt. Why don't we go ahead and take an extended break, and we'll see you all soon. Stay safe. Social distance.
Please go away. Please go away. I don't want to answer any more of your questions.
We're sorry to bother you at a time like this, Mrs. Twice. We would have come earlier, but your husband wasn't dead then.